Photography Plug, and this is Photography Plug Hip Hop News. It looks a little bit like Gotham City tonight as we get close to Halloween. Really appreciate all the support, all the people that's been supporting Photography Plug. Always, we have to thank our partners at YouTube. Hopefully we'll be getting back in the partnership program very soon. By keeping our content clean and following all the rules, we understand, obviously, that great American citizen platform. Greatly appreciate everybody's support, and so many people came in last week after Sean Diddy Combs. As you see the marquee, Sean Diddy Combs was stabbed, and this took place about 1 week ago in a Brooklyn jail. That is correct. Sean Diddy Combs was stabbed a week ago. I mean, a knife was held to his neck. I apologize. And this is an entertainment company. If you're with the Federal Bureau of Investigations or anybody of that sort, any authority, remember, this is an entertainment company. We fall up under the entertainment clause. In other words, a lot of comedy. And some things are real and some things are not. We are a reliable source because we tell the truth. But remember, it's nothing more important than your freedom of speech. So keep that in mind. Obviously, the marquee tonight is Sean Diddy Combs was held at knife point just 1 week ago. Now, he did not receive any type of release, or I'm sure he's probably up under protective custody. You think about the possibility of his release in this very week. It is a possibility that he could be released this week, and Sean Diddy Combs could be home with his family. Make sure you subscribe to this Capitalism. You can always go to $@ Photography Plug and donate to a black entity. I see that this country is more invested in our great American president, Donald Trump. It seems like every time we protest, we make signs, we go out, we spend gas money, we spend millions and hundreds of millions of dollars on those protests. It never seems like the entrepreneurs, it don't seem like they get anything. You think about the local drug dealers. If you're a drug dealer, hell, you make a deal with the prosecutor, you do 5 years, you come back home, and you're good. And let's say if you're a trafficker, even a human trafficker, which Sean Diddy Combs was considered, you still make a deal with the prosecutor and you're good. But the fair entrepreneurs seem to never get that actual capitalism that they need. It seems like the people that sell drugs or the drug traffickers get all the deals with the district attorneys. If you get seized of $800,000, district attorney is so incredibly happy. But if an entrepreneur can make up to hundreds of thousands of dollars legally, nobody seems to be interested. This seems like that Sean Diddy Combs case, exactly what we're talking about. And that Sean Diddy Combs case, it is a thing of, if you think about fair America, I think Anderson Cooper talked about this today, not Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon. He talked about demographic of social media by saying that, yes, some of these TikTokers and YouTubers, the ideas are taken from them, and then they send $25 million over to the person that is whiter or lighter skinned. Now, obviously, this is no secret or nothing that is new to the internet. Obviously, this is a very new thing. Obviously, social media hasn't been around longer than 25 years. I mean, we haven't been going live forever. But Sean Diddy Combs, that is correct, that Sean Diddy Combs may be released. You can imagine the family support that he has. I mean, a $500 million man. I mean, incarcerated under charges that usually you probably get out on a bond. A lot of times, if you look it up, a lot of people served a lot of time for human trafficking. We're talking about Snoop Snoop, Pimp Snooki, to be exact. Remember, Pimp Snooki trafficked a few underage women, and he ended up with a score of a high prison sentence. He's still incarcerated. You said, why bring up a pimp? Because that's exactly what Sean Diddy Combs was basically guilty of, is kind of pimping and not pimping. He's not profiting. So they didn't say he was pimping, but he was actually trafficking. So let us know what you think of Photography Plug. This is the Photography Plug, and this is a format where that is correct, your opinion does count. It's nothing more important than what you have to say. This is not Rock Nation. This is not ASAP Rocky. This is not Jim Jones, my friends. This is a great American citizen that will comment back. I'm not one of those Hollywood individuals, not saying they're not great individuals, but I am saying they're not going to answer your phone call, text, email, or message today, but I will. So welcome to the Photography Plug. We're talking about Sean Diddy Combs, a knife held to his neck less than a week ago. Obviously, last week it was a huge trending topic. I think we did over 200,000 views on that topic, meaning that a lot of people was concerned about Sean Diddy Combs' life being threatened. I mean, you think about if you ever go to Rikers Island, my friends, Sean Diddy Combs is no rookie. He is, in fact, one of most people in America never serve 30 days in prison. And if you go to jail up the street, my friends, it's a vacation compared to where he's at. If they lock you up tonight around the corner, my friends, they probably get a nice meal in the morning, and lunchtime another meal, and after that more meals. But where Sean Diddy Combs is housed at in Brooklyn, my friends, it's a little bit tougher. You're gonna have to fight a little bit more. City swag, my friends, in the biggest city in the world. I remember when I was in Los Angeles and somebody asked me, they said, do you need this in particular thing? And I said, no, this is a real city. I can get sick. That is a fact of the matter of hepatitis, AIDS, all types of COVID-19, my friends, that you can contract while you're incarcerated. It's not just the fact of the matter of somebody just being incarcerated. You can die from so many different diseases. If you went through that prison today, my friends, you probably realize that it's a whole lot of people, not just people, serving. And this is one of the codes of prison, is inside those grits, my friends, that's not a chocolate bar. My friends, people don't want to fix that food in the morning. So Sean Diddy Combs is not probably ordering from that. And I'm not going to speak a lot about this topic or any other topic, but I will say that Sean Diddy Combs could possibly be in a lot of danger. You see this vehicle just speeding through with his just rolling, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That great American freedom. The great American freedom to drive like you want to drive, unless you're stopped by the police. And then they'll probably give you a ticket and send you on the way. But don't let them check up under that seat and find all of those drugs and narcotics and guns that you usually carry. Most criminals never get caught with all their crimes. Most criminals never get caught with half of the crimes that they ever committed. Some of the criminals, I won't talk a lot about this, and I'll be answering some of your comments just in a few. Some criminals, my friends, never get caught. If somebody has a robbery or homicide, they say robbing banks is like tater chips. If you ever rob one, it's impossible not to rob another one, especially if you got away with it. But I did want to say one thing. And remember, the reason why a company might have glass between the money, that is very important. We talked about that money. We talked about capitalism. You can see that cop car right there rolling deep down there with no lights on. There he goes. And you could think about the things that Sean Diddy Combs is actually going through in prison tonight, but have to be elated that it is a light at the end of the tunnel, meaning that he could be home very soon, not just on a pill or pardon, Imagine if the president of the United States of America was in your Rolodex and you can just call Donald Trump anytime you need him. I mean, we all should be able to. We all should be able to call our great American president. But unfortunately, our great American president is not going to answer the phone for all of us. He doesn't have that type of time. He's doing very important things. He's handling the things that many of us don't want to handle. That's what makes Donald Trump so much of a good president. And you must admit, his immigration reform is swell. It gives the illegal immigrants a place to stay, a free trip home. They're not getting incarcerated. If an illegal immigrant get caught in America, he gets incarcerated. He's going to eat tonight. He's going to be able to go back home and just cross back over in the morning. So I think our great American president tried to make that a very successful thing. But in the end, anytime you invest your time, it's only a certain amount of time that we all have in life. We have to admit that. It's only a certain amount of time that we have in life. So, it's only a certain amount of time that we all can say that we actually going to have. So the time is even worth more than the money. So if you spend all of your time investing in protesting Donald Trump, hell, you spent over 100. If we looked at the money that America has spent on protesting against Donald Trump, you're talking about somewhere around $500 million to $1 billion. But that money could have been invested in companies, different companies. It could have invested and tripled, but we just wasted money on those parties because that ended up being a party. In other words, if it was no profit in that, I'm not talking about profit. You raise $500 million for women's rights. Where does that money? No woman is getting rights from that money. Or they raise another $500 million for for cats and dogs. Even cats get funding now. Dogs must be fed now under law, and the state is paying for it. So Donald Trump's plan is to put 43 million people out from being able to have EBT or any type of help. Now, majority of the 43 million people are not black or brown, my friends. The majority of the 43 million people that's going to be losing their EBT and food stamps are white people, obviously. So the majority of people that's on welfare in this country is obviously white people, because it's the majority still in this country. We're talking Utah, Portland, Washington, the state. We're talking all of those cities. Obviously, white people are using EBT. Our great American president, Jimmy Carter. That is correct. We'll get back to Diddy in a second. I want to talk about our great American president, Jimmy Carter. As great as he was, he always, that is correct, Jimmy Carter was on welfare way longer than any other president. He lived to be close to 100 years old. America paid every year for Jimmy Carter's lights to be on, for his food to be on, for him and his family to be fed. I'm sure Mrs. Carter asked, and Jimmy said, well, where's the check coming from? Where do you think? It's the government. Donald Trump says he's going to build, excuse me. Donald Trump said he's going to build a $300 million extension to the White House. He's not building that. Donald Trump, our great American president, is not paying for it. You're paying for it. And it's a security breach, especially with all of the possible terrorists that are mingling all around the White House. Now, this is no secret. This is just like Charlie Kirk all over again. Now, the easiest way to penetrate the White House is obviously do construction or any type of a way, just like the easiest way to infiltrate any place is just a lot of people, obviously. So it'll take about 100 people to overtake the Washington D.C. White House. They would never. The Marines are trained to retreat. They would never shoot it into a crowd, obviously, because then it would be 100,000 people there, or 200,000 people, possibly 20. Just imagine if the Marines tried to fight 500,000 Americans. It just wouldn't happen. It couldn't. Just imagine if the Million Man March turned ugly. I mean, you have to think about the other people that are not on America's side. It's just not white against black in this country. That is obviously. So obviously America, and unfortunately a certain demographic, has made so many enemies. They made so many enemies with the Japanese, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Morocco. They've made enemies with so many people. Now, we didn't make enemies with Charlie Kirk. We didn't want anything happen to Charlie Kirk. But still, at Charlie Kirk's funeral, they took aside and said, after they stole every single thing, they took aside and just simply said, yes, you've gained nothing when we conquered the world. There's more Africans in this world than any other race in the world, so that makes us the most powerful race. We have more heartbeats, and we have more lungs, we have more kidneys. So we have more people, and that makes us, if you really look at it, we probably have more capital. We have more money. If we have more people, then even if we have less money, but we have more people, we're more successful. The people that have the most people. You remember Jay-Z said, Nas, you have no people. Nas never had any people. See, you need people. And that's just what it is. Sean Diddy Combs' neck was not fractured or hurt. He was not injured, but he claimed he woke up early in the morning, very early in the morning, and saying that it was an inmate with a knife to his throat. I don't know if you heard about this last week, but it was a huge trending topic that was going on. Greatly appreciate the support. I'll be reading some of these comments now. Somebody just commented, never. Combs is a monster. We don't care about him one bit. Somebody commented that said Combs is a monster and we don't care about him one bit. Guys, we could talk about the NFL. Guess what? Nobody's going to come. We can have different subjects about things that in reality people are just not going to want to view. We could talk about Tom Brady and talk about Tom Brady. Nobody wants to talk about Tom. Tom's retired. You know, we could talk about Patrick Mahomes' Ohio son won 3 Super Bowls. Nobody seems to want it. This is a hip hop station. So we talk about trending topics. And that's one thing YouTube talked about. He said they know when you're using trending topics. That's a very nice white Pearl Challenger. That's a 5.7. I love that car. I greatly appreciate all the support. I'll be reading another comment. This dude is a millionaire. Somebody just commented, this dude is going to be a future millionaire. I greatly appreciate your comment. I greatly appreciate all the support from everybody that supports Photography Plug. Nice Porsche there. So we can do whip addiction, and we can do, but you know, the subjects that we talk about are more likely going to be trending. If you have an idea of a subject that we could talk about, we could talk about it. But it's going to have to be a mass amount of people that's interested in that subject. It doesn't matter what it is. But that is the subject for tonight. Sean Diddy Combs, just a week ago, was held at knife point to his neck. Now they're talking about early release. Do you think he deserves early release? He was not guilty on a lot of the charges that he was facing. Federal Bureau failed at convicting Sean Diddy Combs on the majority of his charges, ended up with just a few charges. In other words, a 500 millionaire, a lot of that money must not be actually, a lot of that money must not, in other words, if this was Tom Brady, if Tom Brady had these same charges, do you think he would be home, or do you think he'll still be incarcerated? I'm sure we can all agree Tom Brady, which now I guess we're talking Tom, never talked about how quarterbacks was treated unfair. I guess he was, you imagine you trying to run track, right? And you know everybody's faster than you, but they're only allowing the slowest people to run because of the color of their skin. That's what happened with Tom Brady. He cheated the system, cheated everything. His wife left him for a black man. And you should never had ever thought for 4 million years to bring your wife around a whole bunch of athletic black men. That's kind of a mistake on anybody's part. I don't care if you're Hercules, you're not smart if you bring your wife around. I never understood that. You go to the club, right, especially nowadays, and you see, you're talking about Diddy parties, but you see a man with his wife, but his wife put on the tightest thing in the world so other guys can see it. I guess it's just culture. That's just what we do. But I was in Atlanta one time, and this guy, his wife, girlfriend, was basically naked. And he's dang near holding her by a leash. So he's doing that, holding her by a leash with her naked. And I look, and he like snatched her neck away. Like, I'm not supposed to look. I'm confused. She's naked. So, you know, this culture, in a sense, and we're riding the wave. We're not one of those people who say we don't like this culture. We're riding the wave. When the technology goes, we're riding that wave of technology. So that's how we're creating now. We're not just like Andy Warhol and they paint it, but we're riding the wave. So whatever's next, if it's AI, you can check out AI on our rails. If it's cartoons, we're going to do cartoons. Shouts out to one of my best friends, OGB Cooler, just opened up a store. We're going to be going live there too. So get ready for a lot of different things that we're going to be actually inside that store going live a lot. So we'll be going live from KSO. It's a brand new brand. And you can think about how hard it is to start a brand new brand. And we'll be talking about all that. And we'll be talking about this brand new brand. And we'll be actually live. It's a location that we have that we're going to be inside and going live. Kind of like Kasana. We'll be able to go live a lot longer. We'll attempt to go live even 24 hours. So we'll be doing that a lot more. We get a lot more subscribers when we go live. And I suggest if you're YouTube, go live a lot more. It doesn't matter. YouTube is looking for all types of people. I was trying to influence celebrities. And shouts out to Erica Mena. She gave us a shouts out. And always Willow Smith. Obviously, she shouted us out at the Grammys. And we have a few videos of Willow Smith. It's like sometimes like the T.I., like the fathers, they hate us. But the kids love us. So it's not just the celebrities. Sometimes you have to think about it. Like if we bring celebrities here to the city, you know, it's not just the parents, the T.I.s, the older ones, the Snoop Dogg. It's the younger ones that rock with us and not the old school people. But I do know a few people that work with Snoop and all those guys. So greatly appreciate all the support. We got a nice little flow tonight, nowhere near like last week, but we have a little charge, so I stay live a little bit longer. Yes, a very gloomy night, close to Halloween. I think I might be dressing up as the Joker. I think that'll be fun. Hopefully you're safe out there and you're remaining safe. But Sean Diddy Combs was not safe in the jail cell just less than a week ago. They're saying that he alleged that an inmate woke him up with a knife to his throat. And you can imagine being in a cell, very dark cell. Just can you imagine waking up in Rikers Island or this federal prison that he's at? And just imagine some big black guy sweating is on top of you with a knife and the lights are dim and dark. And here you are worth $500 million, knowing if you were not the color you were, you'll be out of prison. I think that's one of the issues with Sean Diddy Combs, this case. It doesn't matter who you want to go to sleep with. I don't care who you want to go to sleep with. It's not my business what you do in your bedroom. My ex didn't get $20 million. I don't think anybody in this chat can say that they have $20 million. This is a possibility that Sean Diddy Combs can always be in the chat. It's a possibility. It's always a possibility. Never negate the fact of as far as how do you call it? cell phones being in jails and prisons. Never negate the fact that Photography Plug, one of the biggest demographics we have are the jails and prison. So if you're popular in jail and people say, well, who are you? And they say, well, whatever your name is, and you know, like Cardi B, she's super popular in, I think, no, they said Gorilla, she's popular in jail. So just because you're in jail doesn't mean you don't have a cell phone. Somebody in jail is probably, you can get paid off of YouTube in jail. I seen, it was one a guy that was in LA and his page was monetized, but he's in jail. It's kind of like how they do, it's actually kind of like how they do the illegal immigrants. They would give a Mexican $50,000 if he's illegal, because he cannot go to the car lot and buy a car. He can't just go and buy a house. If you have $70,000, you can do a lot more than an illegal immigrant. He can't make himself be born here. So that's exactly how YouTube kind of does it. And we're not saying anything bad about YouTube. It's a great service, but we are saying that it's funny how somebody can be in prison and incarcerated and getting paid, and then somebody makes a small mistake and not. That's just the reality of the social media discrimination that's actually just goes on, and it's something that we can do about it. And that's just stay patient, my friends. Stay patient and stay diligent. And if you really believe in something, you're really dreaming, you can think about Tupac Shakur or Sean Diddy Combs or anybody, that any artist, you can outmaneuver those individuals by putting out more content. People talk about the algorithm, and I hate to get off subject, but people talk about the algorithm when we are the algorithm. Now the numbers are going up. Now these more videos are being put out. More content is now what's valuable. I think 50 Cent said he had 3,000 shows or something like that, 300 shows. That's not really compared to the average person that probably has, or network that has 50,000 videos. Just imagine somebody right now has 50 or 60,000 videos. So I'll be reading some of these comments. I never like to ignore you guys. I know you're very important people, obviously very important. And that's something that I think we was missing with Rock Nation and the vlogs before. They made people feel worthless. I think Jay-Z and Beyonce is very intelligent and amazing people. And actually, I think Jay-Z was one of the first ones that we can look at and say, before Barack Obama, he was popular. He could have been president of the United States of America. So it's me. One of the comments is me, you talking about love. Somebody sent love to you. Mean that shot EP. Is that? So I greatly appreciate all the comments. The subject tonight is Sean Diddy Combs held at knife point just 1 week ago. Now, everything seems calm at that Brooklyn jailhouse now, but just a week ago, early in the morning, Sean Diddy Combs claimed that a knife was at his throat. And some probably, more than likely, big, sweaty black guy was on top of him. I couldn't imagine it being a white inmate being able to overtake the power of Sean Diddy Combs, him being a sound criminal now. He is not a rookie. Sean Diddy Combs is not an innocent person. Now, obviously, if you put an innocent man in prison, he's an innocent person, but he has to deal with criminals every day. And Sean Diddy Combs is not just dealing with criminals. He's dealing with some of the worst criminals in world history in that jail. That is correct. Some of the more people with city slickers with swag that can possibly just articulate. People don't move illegally all the time. They can articulate. Wars are not started by action every day. Some wars are just articulated. So you don't have to go break a window out to start a war. You just have to say the right words at the right time and at the right place. So some people think like destruction or destroying property when it can be legal. Like somebody win the World Series, you can go out there and destroy a city bus. The city can't say anything about it because that's what they do when the Dodgers won. They destroyed the city buses. So I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We stay live. We're trying to go live a lot more. Like I said, we're going to have some inside locations at KSO. It's not too far from here. So one of the commenters said, sounds dumb, something about Justin Bieber. Yes, if this was Sean Diddy Combs, you think about if this was Justin Bieber, he wouldn't have seen a day in jail. I can remember trying to go get Brad Pitt's imagery. I was at work. I was in Los Angeles, and I knew Brad Pitt was going to be in a certain location. I knew a couple of photographers that already had Brad Pitt. And like I said, when I got off of work, I circled around. This was Beverly Hills, went to Beverly Hills and went to this image awards or whatever they had that night. And the security guards see me all the way up the street. They already knew I was getting off work. They already knew I was coming because for some reason, Brad Pitt is like the American flag, Angelina Jolie. And that's something about this Julio Fulio trial. You think about Alicia Andrews. Alicia Andrews. I wonder if y'all like those cars. But if you think about Alicia Andrews and how beautiful she is, we're talking about the Julio Fulio trial. And you think about Angelina Jolie. Now, Alicia Andrews is already probably convicted because, number one, the district attorney in that case, in that Julio Fulio trial, is terribly unattractive. You don't want to come into the courtroom looking beautiful, my friends. The jury are people. So if you come in the courtroom, that's why you have professional people that dress you in certain ways. That young lady not only captures the camera is on her. And when I say the camera is on Felicia Andrews, the camera is on Felicia Andrews. If Felicia Andrews got a bond, my friends, she probably can go to a club and get an appearance. It's something called infamous. Everybody that's been on death row for a huge case seems like they're a rock star. In other words, they have a lot of girlfriends. And this is facts from Jeffrey Dahmer. They said Jeffrey Dahmer had some girlfriends and Charlie, all the, real crazies that's incarcerated, that's not free people, So that Felicia Andrews, that Julio Fulio trial, very, very beautiful young woman capturing, now she's like kind of like a thug, men like tough women too. She's got a tattoo on the side of the neck. She is a light-skinned woman, but she is a very attractive woman, and she's on trial for murder, conspiracy to murder. She thought she was on a honeymoon and her boyfriend was away getting McDonald's, but the district attorney was what I wanted to talk about. You think about the district attorney getting paid. They get paid. If a district attorney is getting paid, they're getting paid to look decent. The district attorney in this case does not look good at all. Now, they put the camera on Felicia Andrews, but when they put the camera on that district attorney, she's god-awful ugly. And I'm not any disrespect. It's because she didn't keep up herself. She didn't use the money that she was paid by state to keep up herself. Same thing. Sean Diddy Combs is probably incarcerated with people that probably are doing a lot better than the guards and the judge and the district attorney. Because, unfortunately, if you think about that Felicia Andrews case in the Julio Fulio, if she gets incarcerated, right, and I can't be alive too much longer, but we'll be going live a lot more. If Felicia Andrews gets incarcerated, if she's actually incarcerated for 20 years, she get out, she's 42 years old, she's still fairly young, she's still fairly attractive. The district attorney, they held her hand and gave her a meal, and what would she do if she was released? If Felicia Andrews was released, it'll be a bigger punishment than if she was incarcerated. Now she's a rock star. Now tomorrow, when she go back to court, she'll be all over YouTube. And now she's, people know her face, and guys like me, single guys, will say, well, hell, if she's single, and hell, she's down there in Florida, which I wouldn't go to Florida, but I'm saying she is actually that attractive. I wanted to make sure that I said that clearly. Yes, Felisa Andrews is so attractive. I'll be reading your comment right now. Where's all the gentle Europe Caucasian perverse Y, Tupac, OJ, Suge Knight, Mike Tyson, Diddy, Red Fox, Sammy Davis Jr. So somebody just had a very good comment. And they said, where are all the white pedophiles at? Well, I'm going to answer that question for you. Somebody just asked, where are the white pedophiles? They're sent home. If you're a sex offender, which I'm proud to say I am not, if you are a sex offender, you have to register yourself. You have to do so many different things, but you can't be incarcerated because they have to give you a fair incarceration. In other words, I worked with a guy that was an actual sex offender. The co-workers looked up his name. This was this summer, and nobody would take him home. Everybody said, listen, I got to pick up my kids. People was getting mad and people was getting frustrated. In other words, the white Caucasian sex offenders are at home on probation and parole. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is go to your local sex offender registry and look them all up. So, I don't particularly look up that stuff because I'm not putting my mind in a negative light. I just live day. I don't bash people. If they do that, it's none of my business. You can't save the world. I did try to go down there and save kids. Police came and they did all types of things to prevent me from trying to help kids out. The only thing they want for certain people in America is a prosecution. I sat up there and called and talked about illegals working hired from the city, and went live about it and talked about it and tried to get them off the job site. ICE wouldn't come. Nobody would come. Nobody. You have to face reality sometimes. Let's not even complain anymore. Let's don't even sit up there and complain about what they do. We already know what they do and how they do it. The only thing we can do is capitalism. That's $ at Photography Plug at Cash App, meaning that the only way we beat them is supporting a company that sparks your mind and gets you ready to say something like that comment. So $ at Photography Plus, support at Cash App, support entrepreneurships. They don't have to be black, but support us. We can't talk about other people's survival. We have to talk about our own. And a lot of people, and the woman that I love the most, obviously my mother, she's very disgusted on the way that I talk to the illegal immigrants. But it's not an insult to them, and they know it's not. It's an insult to the authorities that can't show up. It's like the goat. The goat it stands on the edge of the mountain, just feet away from the lion that wants to eat him. So that's what the goat does. He stands on the edge where the police can't be called. The police can't react. Just like now, if the police call, they're embarrassed themselves. So, this is a residence, so the residents can call, say, guys, live outside. It's 100% constitutional right. And it's the city field that I love. So obviously it's a city. Sometimes they bring clowns out here to juggle. They do different, even in a riot, they bring a teddy bear and thought I was going to hit it. So it's a psychological war. But the country doesn't run us. We run the country. So the country, let me say that again. The country, United States of America, doesn't run our mind. We run the country. So when you start to understand what legal is and what you can do and your rights and your amendments, you can understand that, yes, we run the country. I greatly appreciate all the support. Goodness gracious almighty. I thought we was at 1,000. We're just at 185. But I greatly appreciate all 185 people that's in the chat room tonight. We're always moving forward in technology. I did hear a thing of a saying in Africa, they don't really take time. And listen, and people will make anything up to take your time up. But here we are talking about Sean Diddy Combs just a week ago, held at knife point. We're getting close to Halloween. Let us know what type of costumes you're going out. Is anybody dressing up for Diddy, the baby oil? You know, greatly appreciate all the support. You can always go to $ at Photography Plug, Cash App. Support today. Very important. Entrepreneurship. Very, very, very important. I greatly appreciate to be alive today, to be well today. I appreciate the authorities for them doing their jobs and federal bureaus for standing down and staying away. I appreciate the CIA for trying to infiltrate, but knowing that our knowledge is way past. We fly higher than the eagle, that American eagle will ever fly, my friends. We're the Photography Plug. We soar higher than an American eagle could ever fathom, my friends. Some people that are very close to me have traveled so much around this world that it makes some of the astronauts look foolish, my friends. We're one of the most powerful companies in the world, and we won't take second. Every day I wake up, I never ask for you remember Randall and Donald Trump? It was great, iconic when Donald Trump was still a reality TV star. Remember Randall said, I asked for one, I asked for an apprentice, I didn't ask for two. Every day I wake up, I ask for one, and I never asked for two. I asked to be the most powerful. I never asked to be. Whether he answers me or not, I'm humbled about it. So I greatly appreciate all the support. No earthly born man is above Diddy. We all have sinned. We're born in sin. And I would like to say, yes, that's a very good comment. Somebody said, no, nobody's above Diddy. I will say this, that I was in Los Angeles and I noticed the prostitutes late at night. I didn't blame the prostitutes. If the prostitutes stop selling whatever they're selling, and we know what they're selling, we all go broke. And that is a reality. Every prostitute in America stop today, it'll be a poor curve market on every single street. And I looked at those prostitutes and they made a lot of the money. And, you know, I always thought, I said, they have a lot of guts that we don't have to get in a car with a stranger and maybe never come home again. And a lot of times that does happen. These prostitutes get in cars, but yes, you're exactly right. We're not over or above any prostitute. We're not above any scum on the street of what they call. Or Martin Luther King did not live his last few days trying to save Mother Teresa. Martin Luther King left his last few days trying to help trash men. And I think that was Memphis, Tennessee. So keep that in mind. King wasn't there to go try to save Mother Teresa or Kim Kardashian. As beautiful as Kim Kardashian is. And that's why I talked about Felicia Andrews in this murder trial and Julio. Is because the beauty must be recognized. Now, Angelina Jolie has nothing on this girl. She's at least 30 years younger than her, number one. So what I'm saying is this: if you look at this case, and this is Julio case in Florida, if you really look at that case and you see what they have in the evidence, the only thing they have is this young lady's face on video. They even had her doing her makeup by a professional makeup artist. I never seen that in any courtroom. And she's laughing and she's giggling because the court is obviously, if you have a camera on you 24, even Hillary Clinton said that she doesn't like to be filmed while she's eating. Just imagine if you were in the courtroom, and obviously this is a peninsula, not even really a real state, Florida, which house more narcotics than any other state other than California. Florida is probably one of the most illegal states where you can go and probably find a kilo of cocaine if you walk long enough on the beaches. So this is not a state where it's in the middle of the country where nobody's doing anything. No, this is where Scarface started, where Al Capone visit in real life. You know, this is one of the more corrupt, and it's a Trump land. This is, you know, if you go down in Florida, when Tom Brady was at the Super Bowl, I actually was down there filming Pooh Shiesty and a few other people. at a Bootsy at a Super Bowl party. And I went into a grocery store, and I went into like a wing stop. It's one of these places where they sold subs. And the white lady looked at me like, I'm no mean, no offense, but please. It was just a whole bunch of, on pickup trucks screaming Tom Brady's name. This wasn't about football. This was more about something else. So, guys, I greatly appreciate you being with me live tonight. We're going to go ahead and finish up the show for tonight. I greatly appreciate you guys. But that is the issue of Sean Diddy Combs. That is the issue of Sean Diddy Combs being incarcerated and a knife held to his neck while incarcerated. I thought that was a very serious and critical issue. But guys, that is all for tonight. I greatly appreciate everybody's support in Photography Blog.